Principles. First, they came by Clement of Alexandria around the first century AD. Clement of Alexandria, he was a bishop of the early Christian church in Egypt. And what they did, they used to take, just like Brother LJ said, they called him Hermes, but it was actually a principle called Tahuti. But when the Greeks came, they flipped around, changed the name. They called it Hermes, gave him a Greek face, and made him a deity, so to speak. All right, so that's how those hermeneutics got into the church. So, like, these principles are like the basic principles for nature, psychology, things of that nature. To be able to see how the dynamics of how all this stuff interrelates, right? Culture is pretty much like a representative of these elements being manifested and executed properly. That's what culture is. It cultivates. That's what these principles do. They're supposed to cultivate you, make you a better person. Just like LJ was saying, like, for instance, the Migos, the little rap group, they had an album called Culture. But like LJ said, really that ain't even a subculture. Because culture has to augment you. And I don't think, I ain't got no, young brothers with their music, but I don't think it was too much edifying. You see? So that's a problem we have in the black community. We'll label anything culture. Selling dope, pimping. How is that culture? So I want to start off with dealing with our definition of culture from an African-centered perspective. And I'm just quoting from, this is a ethnicity and psychology book, basic old book I got from school, but I'm quoting Dr. Wade Nobles. Dr. Wade Nobles he was a student in San Francisco, University of San Francisco, and in 1968, when Martin Luther King was assassinated, the students and also the professors, they said it was too much. They were getting blackballed in the field of psychology. So Joseph White decided to start the Association of Black Psychologists. And what they did was they countered everything the Association of Psychology of America. They countered everything they did because they knew that psychology was Western and it didn't apply to us. Just like even to this day, everybody say go to therapy, but I'm gonna tell you this, coming from a mental health field, you gotta be careful who your therapist is. You know what I'm saying? Some of them out there just to get $1. So you gotta be careful, because a lot of times, you seeking some real help, and then that can deter you if they're not culturally competent and don't know, the things you're going through. So that's the thing about the Association of Black Psychologists. They introduced African culture as the genesis. Like, everything comes from that perspective. Everything. So I'm just gonna give you a definition from Dr. Wade Nobles, and it goes, culture, as we define it herein, refers to the operationalization of a people's cosmology or a worldview in the everyday approach to life of the people. That is, culture represents the institutionalized expressions, practices, and products of a people's cosmology. Therefore, an understanding of the concept of cosmology or worldview is necessary to an understanding of culture. These concepts refer to the distinct way in which a people construct, define, and organize their reality. I'd like to repeat that. These concepts refer to the distinct way in which a people construct, define, and organize their reality. That's like Brother Kirk. This is his reality. And this is all African-centered, because he knows that's his culture. Therefore, that gives him authority over his life, pretty much. He go to Africa when he get well, he go do as he please, live like a king. Live like a king, literally. Like, we supposed to be living, authority in our life. Kings and queens, we supposed to be moving with that authority. And not in a racist, bigot way. Saying that we are, superior to another group of people. But you got to understand, the Homo sapiens sapien emerged out of East Africa. The humans today, our progenitors come from Africa. That goes for all humanity. So to follow a African-centered culture is really not African, it's really human. That's why a lot of the words, a lot of the principles, dealing with African culture, you got psychologists like Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, they went to study people in Africa to see how they were so resilient, to see how they didn't suffer from depression, Alzheimer's, anxiety, things of this nature. And they also knew that if humanity emerged from this area of the world, it had to be in place some type of element that edifies and pretty much influences the advancement of human evolution. Culture is what evolves us. So if you don't have a culture, you're not going to evolve. Pretty much. That's why when we came over here, they stripped our culture. We couldn't speak the language, couldn't eat our foods, couldn't worship how we worship, couldn't do these things. So that's the nature of culture. So we gotta understand that, because I see a problem where I see grown-ups, people with degrees, educated, adults, not having a clear definition of what culture is. Your culture defines your reality. Now, if you don't have a culture, one will be imposed on you. Now, when this culture is imposed on you, now you got to follow their beliefs, their rituals, their ways, and things of that nature. Now we're gonna get into the hermetic principle. You know what I'm saying? Brother Abijah, people come in out the street. This man about strangers' cars. This man let strangers live in his house. That's culture. You see what I'm saying? Meet people where they at, offering assistance. You see that, and that's the aspect I don't see when they deal with the youth. We want to try to correct them, tell them what to do, pull your pants up, do this, do that, and ain't giving them no culture. So guess what they're gonna do? Turn a deaf ear. Because one thing is not resonating with their spirit, not resonating with their DNA. That's what culture does. Now that can go back to intergenerational trauma, intergenerational trauma. Intergenerational trauma is pretty much trauma. That's our number one issue, really. Relationship, male, female. We got trauma. You know what I'm saying? Eternal from. I'm talking about all the way coming from in your DNA. From the Atlantic slave trade. Then all the atrocities we go through right now. All the covert things, the machinations that we go through. So culture is like that's your means of resistance. That's how we got free, through all the insurrections. All the slave revolts were instituted by African principles. By practicing African philosophy and doing these things. So
I be an official, big dog in the yard, voting most likely to murder every birthday